Good morning, students. Am I audible? Inform all to join. Let's wait for some time so that everyone can join, okay? So let's start, right? So good morning to all of you present here. This is a class of Professional Elective 3, 6th semester, and you are studying about rural water supply and on-site sanitation system. Correct? So we are in the fourth module of the subject. We are discussing about sanitation in broad way. So till now we have discussed about the basic idea uh, behind sanitation. What is the basic purpose of sanitation? How, why a particular community need to adopt a sanitation program? Fine. So up to last class we have discussed about that. Even in the very last class we are discussing about on-site sanitation, some techniques of waste management, especially the techniques related to your night soil management. So we have discussed various type of technique that can be adopted in rural areas level. Okay. So for example, like Can you give me some example of some techniques that we have discussed in the last class? Anyone? Can you name some techniques that can be used in rural level for the management of night soil, or you can say human excreta? Anyone? If you remember, you can just write in the chat box. No one? You didn't remember what you have discussed in the last class? If you are not responding, then I have to say. So basically, we have discussed about privy, or you can say in general term, slattering, right? So different type of privy we have discussed, like pit privy, right? Duck well privy, and others. I remember chemical privy, aqua privy, right? So particular the techniques, or you can say the night soil management techniques, can be divided under two parts: dry technique and wet technique. Okay. So under dry technique, all other will come like borehole, okay, then borehole privy, well privy, means dug well privy, or other type of pit latrine or pit privy, all are categorized under dry privy because they are in the particular technique, they are not connected to a centralized water system, water supply system, okay. Or you could say there is no role of water, but in case of wet techniques of, you can say wet techniques of on-site sanitation, there is an involvement of water like aqua privy, where a particular waste is dissolved in water. After that, it get decomposed with the help of bacteria, and the decomposition of the waste can be done by two methods. In case of aqua privy, one is your anaerobic and one is your aerobic. Anaerobic means a particular bacteria de uh, decompose the waste without the help of oxygen. And aerobic decomposition means what? Aerobic decomposition means a decomposition of waste by the bacteria with the help of oxygen. So there is a three chamber, if you remember, in case of aqua privy. First chamber, anaerobic decomposition chamber, where there is no role of oxygen. Second chamber, it is your aerobic decomposition chamber, where there is a role of oxygen. That's why it's called aerobic decomposition. After that, it will go to that. The waste water will go to what? The wastewater will go to that filter chamber, which is the third stage, right? Which in the particular filter, other clinker or brick beds are also filled in a particular filter. That is the third chamber, and the water is ejected from the second chamber to the filter chamber at the bottom. Okay, to allow water, or the wastewater, basically the wastewater, to move from bottom to top with the, okay. So from by the time of the movement of the wastewater from bottom to top, it crosses the clinker or crosses the the brick beds present in the filter, and it goes through the filtration process. The wastewater moves from bottom to top through a filtration process. After it, to some extent, it gets filtered, and the the if that the particular wastewater which is coming out of the eco-friendly that can be used for other uh, domestic purposes like washing car or gardening, all these things, or even in agriculture also you can go for use. That means you can reuse the waste. So this is kind of a on-site sanitation system. Okay. So basically, I think you have heard about bio toilet. Okay, this bio toilet are also somewhere installed in case of somewhere nearby the camp or festival. Okay, that is what is the purpose of bio toilet? That is the waste is decomposed biologically. Okay, so you can also go through your searching in Google, just find out how a biological toilet can is work. Okay, basically it's work. Okay, I think you will understand. So today class is also a continuation of the last class. Basically we're going to discuss about sanitation only. Fine. So we're going to discuss about uh, means how to adopt a particular on-site sanitation process. Okay, or what is the relation between on-site sanitation techniques that you are going to adopt with the quality of water. Okay, and we're going to discuss some government scheme and the approaches that uh, have already been taken by government either in a national level or international level for um, you know to manage this on-site sanitation or even you can say the pure drinking water supply. Clear? So let me share my screen first. Is it visible to you? Is it visible to you? At least now you can respond. Okay. चलो ठीक है ठीक है. So yeah, so we are going to discuss about nexus between water quality and sanitation. That means the relation between the water quality and sanitation approach and the importance of hydrological, or you can say hydrological cycle or hydrology on selecting an on-site sanitation system. Basically, when it comes to the importance of hydrology, it's basically related to groundwater. Okay, because when you have discussed about on-site sanitation, like advantages, disadvantages of on-site sanitation. So if you remember, I have mentioned one thing that is the groundwater. That is, we should, um, you know, we should not provide a contact between the waste coming from the pit latrine or any kind of techniques that is adopted in a particular rural areas. Okay, with the groundwater. Okay, so we also need to protect the groundwater. We should not pollute the groundwater. This is also our aim. Okay, so this hydrological condition in a particular area is also matter. Okay, when deciding a on-site sanitation system. Fine. Anyway, so basically, on-site sanitation is the most preferred mode of sanitation due to expensive off-site sanitation. So we have already discussed that on off-site sanitation is comparatively expensive. Okay, why? Because off-site sanitation involve a centralized water system, water supply system. It also involve with a treatment process, which required maybe a bigger machinery. So it come also with a investment, a higher investment comparatively with the on-site sanitation. So comparatively, on-site sanitation is less expensive, right? So I think this is already clear in the last previous classes. Okay, the increasing population, especially in peri-urban or urban areas. Peri-urban means semi-urban, basically. Okay, or you can say that rural areas has led to increasing use of on-site sanitation system in India. So I also told you a particular what kind of sanitation process you are going to adopt is also depend on how many persons are uh, using. We're going to benefit from the particular techniques. Okay, so I already told you that on-site sanitation depend on presence of groundwater table. Also, how many you can say the population, basically the population of the community. This also matter. Okay? The increasing population, especially in peri-urban areas, has led to increasing use of on-site sanitation system, especially in India. We're talking about India, basically. Okay, so that's why nowadays on-site sanitation is uh, promoted so much. Okay, however, the habitation in the vicinity of this system do not have a centralized water supply and are dependent on groundwater sources. So the particular area that we are talking about, like a semi-urban or rural areas, in that particular area, most of the households are not connected to the centralized water supply. Okay, and maybe most of the areas are not accessible to groundwater sources because they are mostly um, draw water from surface water like river, lake, like that. Fine. So, however, this is a concern about leaching of physical coliform and nitrates from the septic tank to the underlying aquifer. So, yeah, if you are going to adopt on-site sanitation, like on-site sanitation technique like pit latrine or any other kind of latrine, which is not properly designed, basically, we are talking about that. So, there is a possibility of groundwater, you can say groundwater pollution. Okay, I'll show you a just simple diagram for that. I think this diagram is pretty much clear to you. Suppose this is your, I think it's look like a dug well latrine, right? So if the particular uh, groundwater level is so near by this dug, then what will happen? That particular solid waste in the well, it may be retained by the soil. Okay, but the liquid coming from the dug, it may penetrate down and may reach the uh, groundwater. That means basically the bacteria present in the water, wastewater coming from this uh, dug well, you can say, like it may contain virus, it may contain nitrous compound or pathogenic compound. They may flow with water and may reach the groundwater and it will pollute. Okay, now suppose nearby this pit latrine, there is a well from where a particular a shallow well I'm talking about, where a particular household is taking water. Okay, so it may be polluted the groundwater. So this is also a matter of concern. That means we also need to um, safeguard the groundwater. Okay, so although groundwater, if the groundwater get polluted somehow in some other time in years, groundwater will flow to the river and it will may come to the surface as a spring water. So in that way, from spring water, that polluted water may goes to the lake river. So if groundwater is polluted in coming years, it may pollute the surface water also. Okay, so there is a um, situation that we have to prevent. Fine. So anyway, where we are. Yeah. So the groundwater serves as a decentralized source of safe drinking water for millions of rural and urban areas. So if you take an average population of India, basically, so groundwater is also um, categorized one kind of safe drinking water because it doesn't need any, not any actually, it needs a less treatment process. Okay. And it accounts for nearly 80% of the rural domestic water needs and 50% of the urban water needs of the country. So basically, when it comes to in the survey, in statistics, you consider 80% of the total population. 80% of the total population living in the rural areas are connected with their groundwater sources, and 50% of the total population of urban area is connected to that. Fine. So when it comes to sanitation now, so 63% of urban population. So basically these data are based on a particular year statistics. Okay. So I don't go for that. Remember this data because it's just data which is coming from the 2004 survey. Fine. So it may change at present time, right? So anyway, so 63% of urban population in India has got access to sewerage and sanitation facility. Okay, so it basically it included 47% from sewer and 53% from low cost sanitation. So it's a mixed technique that has been adopted in India. Okay, that means 47% of the total population are connected with the sewer. That means a centralized sewer treatment plant, and 53% of the population basically are connected with the basic, the low cost sanitation, means like a on-site sanitation or a normal, which is not proper basically. So this data is up to March 2004 basically. So why we're actually discussing about that, because we need to also we need to know from where it started basically, that awareness. Okay, so as a consequence, a open defecation is prevalent widely in rural areas, but also significantly in urban areas too. That means usually we see that open defecation is basically practiced in rural areas, but since from this data also it says even in the semi-urban areas also, even semi-urban and urban areas, most of the um, households are not connected with a centralized water supply system and doesn't have a well sewer system, so they go for open defecation. Okay, so it's a kind of a practice which widely you know adopted in rural areas, even in the urban areas too. So we know that without improved or a well sanitation system, which uh, then purpose of the sanitation is what, to safeguard, or you can say the separate human waste from human contact basically. Okay, we need to make a distance between human health from the waste. Fine. So basic idea about sanitation. So without well sanitation, people have no choice to use inadequate communal latrines or to practice open defecation. So communal latrines means a particular latrines which can used by a whole household living in a particular community, and it's create an unhygienic condition. Just you can try to imagine. Okay, and they also go for a practicing open defecation because of the unimproved or unwell, or you can say not designed properly designed sanitation process. Okay, so these things are very dangerous for a particular uh, health of a particular society, even in terms of hygienic. Okay, so we need to avoid communal latrines. We need to avoid open defecation. So even our government of India also have taken different steps to uh, eliminate these two practices basically from whole country. So for this, we have to adopt sanitation, a well-designed sanitation uh, approach in every community. Fine. So in the next international level, the poor sanitation is one of the main cause of diarrhea, and it is the statement given by WHO in 2019, basically. So as part of Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations from the international platform has set the target to achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and end open defecation by 2030. So this one, it is not the only situation in India, even though even considering the whole world, on average most of the population are going through this um, you know going through this situation. Okay, so even though in the international platform WHO in 2019, okay, basically have targeted to eliminate the offendification and to provide adequate water supply and sanitation to each and every household living in every country by 2030. Fine. So from this point of view, okay, and considering that situation, considering that you know depth of the situation, India has launched Swachh Bharat mission. basically. So including all other aspects, which include among all other goal, the elimination of open defecation by 2019. Okay, through large scale toilet construction. Okay, so if you go through any state level website of government of India, okay, so you will find the mission. Just you can go through it. Okay, so I'll show you for our state Assam. Fine. So yeah, I have already opened this website. So this is a website. I think it is. I think you can see, right. This is a website of Government of Assam Public Health Engineering and Department. Okay, it's popularly known as PHED. Okay, so their main goal of this department to sustain a, a good water supply and to maintain the sanitation in all over the state basically, and mainly concentrating the rural areas. So even though you are seeing, even in the rural water supply and rural sanitation is highlighted in the home page of this website. So you can imagine what is the importance of this project basically. Okay, fine. So the main purpose of this public health and engineering department is to work on sustaining the good water supply to every household, whether it is in a rural or urban areas, and to maintain the sanitation. Fine. You can also go through your own government website. You can find out the almost the similar aim, you can say. So when I open rural water supply and rural sanitation individually, you can see under the rural water supply there are different um, scheme, or you can have been adopted, okay, or different program have been going on even till now. Okay, like National Rural Drinking Water Program. Okay, fine. So you can also go through studying the real-time program that have been adopted by Government of India for the development of rural areas, especially in the terms of well water supply and on-site sanitation, like Swachh Bharat Mission. Okay, then National Rural Drinking Water Program. Okay, it's so in short form NRDWP, the National Rural Drinking Water Program. That have been, you can say, it is highlighted here. Okay. um yeah, so yeah, different programs are there. Even the water quality monitoring program also be there. Fine. So this is all about your water. This is under rural water supply. They are the scheme. You can also go inside. You can also study. When it comes to the sanitation part, you can see such Bharat Mission Gramin. So it's highlighted here. It's a slogan that have been um, practiced by Government of India, even our state government. So basically, it's a dream of the clean India. Okay, that has been seen by Mahatma Gandhi has begun to get a shape basically. So here you can see the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam has set the vision of open defecation free Assam within 2017. So it's basically it was targeted up to 17. They have been targeted that open defecation completely need to eliminate. Okay. So yeah, so this is the thing that I need to share with you. Then you can also go through your individual um, government home site. Okay, web page you can basically. So public health department basically they are dealing with this. Okay, so different scheme or project that have been adopted. You can also go through this. Okay, even our Assam, the public health engineering department have uh, going through the project of installing uh, the household toilet for every household. Okay, basically toilet for every household in different rural areas that you can go through. If you want to know more about that, you can also go check the homepage. Okay, anyway, so India has launched the Swachh Bharat mission, which includes among other goals the elimination of open defecation by 2019 through large scale toilet construction. Okay,
So improved sanitation include flush toilet connected to either to sewerage system or to septic tank basically. So even in our household we also use the flush toilet. Okay, flush toilet means we in a particular flush toilet one uses a flush of water like 1 to a 1.5 liter of water before and after use of the toilet. Okay, that's why it's called flush water, first flush toilet. Okay, which is connected to a sewerage system or to connect it to a septic tank basically. That means the wastewater will go to directly to the sewerage system, which is the centralized sewerage system, or to go to an individual septic tank, which is basically practiced in a areas basically. Okay, or a pit latrines, it can be used for improved sanitation. Okay, so recently the joint monitoring program for water supply and sanitation hygiene, in short it's called JMP basically. Okay, and it's an international level group that is of WHO and UNICEF. Okay, has estimated that around 0.9 billion people worldwide basically uses toilet or latrine where excreta are disposed of in situ. That means in the field itself the waste is disposed. When it comes to India, in India currently about 46, around 46 or 46.1% of urban households are connected to septic tank or flush toilet, and 14.6% are connected to pit latrine. Okay, so if you going for the overall population percentage, okay, 13% of households have other latrine like night salt disposed in the open drain. Okay, so this is categorized under open other latrines, like in particular 30% of households have disposed night soil basically in open drain. Okay, night soil removed by human and animals like that, and 26.3% of the populations are without any latrines. So we need to target that particular population basically. So basically the proper design and implementation of on-site sanitation techniques in India are resulting and poor containment of wastewater and increasing the risk to drinking water quality. So this not properly designed sanitation also in the hampered, or also because of the not providing a proper wastewater system. Also, it also affect in drinking water quality since there is a possibility of groundwater pollution. So this is about the basics data statistics basically. So this data may be changed at present time. Okay, so I don't advise you to go through remembering this data. Fine. So it's just a data that so that you can imagine the depth of the situation basically. Okay. So this is all about today class. We have discussed about the importance of sanitation in the real picture basically in terms of what are the projects that have been adopted by the government of India or even in the international level, and basically why, and what is the importance of on-site sanitation, and what is the relation between the hydrology with the adoption of on-site sanitation. That means we need to protect, although we need to go for sanitation or hygiene situation, but we don't know, we don't want, to pollute the groundwater. So we are along with the sanitation, we also need to protect our groundwater. Okay, so this is also a very important point that we need to consider while going through adopting a particular techniques under on-site sanitation system. Okay, so the adopting an on-site sanitation system depend on various aspects like groundwater, presence of groundwater, and what is the depth of the groundwater level, and what are the locally available material, and what is the number of population that going to be involved or connected with this particular technique. This is also matter. Clear? So this is all about today class. With this I just want to conclude and close my sharing. So is there any doubt, you can also ask me, and if you don't have any doubt then I'll just take your attendance. Is it clear to you? So at the end I just want to advise you to go through your own state website of the government website, which work for your sanitation and drinking water. Basically, public health department, basically it's responsibility, but basically it's all connected. All the departments are connected. Fine. So you just go through by yourself. Anyway, so I just want to close my sharing here. I hope it is clear to you. Okay. So yeah, so let's take your attendance then. So let me first stop my recording, then I will take your attendance. Right? Wait.